And hello! Welcome back to another episode of the KashCast. I am Adam Latour, and this is an interview-focused podcast where we talk to artists, creators, and creatives of many varieties. And with me today, I have Natalie Arenzon, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Perfect.
You're doing great.
All right. So I have Natalie Arenzon with me, and she is one of my coworkers, actually. She is a BG painter on KIF, and she's also done work on, I think, Primos and Carol vs. the World, correct?
Yep.
All right, so we're doing a second recording, obviously.
No, this is the first time. We're doing this for the first time, right?
Yeah, wink, wink.
Yeah.
So Natalie, if you can just do a quick recap as to, first off, like, what are your duties like on the daily for someone who might not know what a BG painter does?
Right, of course. Yeah, so I'm a BG painter on KIF. Get to work with the lovely Adam here. And I basically just get some beautiful designs from our background designers, and then I get to color them in, and I get paid to do it, and it's great, and I love it very much. And yeah, it's been a very good time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not designing anything. I'm just the person who just like sorting the files into folders, but still a very
you do
important...
a ton. You do a ton, Adam. You guys are working your butts off. It's crazy. Production's crazy.
Okay, so another like speed run section, but like, what was your like previous history, just being like interested in art, or just like, your educational lore, for lack of better words, to get to this point?
Yeah, for sure. I'll do a better version of what I did last time.
Yeah.
I'll do something less long form. Yeah, so I mean, I always liked art as a kid. I took a few classes here and there, but like nothing crazy. I wasn't like the gifted child or whatever they're called. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, one of those. And I sort of just, grew out of it, and I was like, well, that's not really what I'm going to go into. And I actually ended up going to school for theater at Barnard, which is a liberal arts college in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped liking it almost immediately because I did not like the people. And I transitioned into film studies instead. The film studies major at my school is not production based. It was a lot of theory stuff, like watch movies, discuss them, write papers on them, read lots of literature on different, eras and techniques that were being used, and like the political implications of it. Very interesting stuff, but also, where do you go with that? Like, your two routes really were with that kind of education is either going into research and academia, or you go into like reading scripts and becoming like a reviewer for an agency, basically, until you can climb the ladder, right? And yeah, and working on a set was not something I enjoyed after I experienced it. Like, being on a set for like 9 hours and feeling like you're not getting anywhere and stuff is just like, I did not have the stamina for it. And I was asking Adam about it too, because you were also in production.
Yeah. So outside of, I guess, just like helping with like high school plays, well, obviously when I was in high school.
Yeah. Back in that day. So long ago for us, I know.
Yeah, and it's so surreal because I virtually look and sound the exact same. Like, I keep being told, like, oh, you'll like that, like another 10 years. But it's like, I don't like walking to, like, look, for context sake, I'm pretty sure when we had our first like the first holiday party that I was invited to, like a titmouse one.
Was that back in 2021, right?
Yeah, 2021, 2022 maybe. But dang it, like, time doesn't exist anymore.
Like, I know. It all dilates. It's awful.
Yeah. But what I will say is that, like, I walked in, just like soaking wet, and like my backpack's still on me. I still have this boyish face, and I'm pretty sure I ended up getting asked for an ID, not because it's customary, because I still look like I'm 12.
Yeah. That's what happened to me too. They carded me and I'm like, oh, I have a backpack on. This explains everything.
Yeah. But they're handy, you know?
They're
Like,
hand, they're great. I don't want a
yeah.
work bag. I want my backpack. It carries so much more.
Right, exactly. But to actually answer your question, I don't have any physical, I guess, experience working production. Like outside of the commercial that I worked on with my friend Bash in LA for the past Genesis X tournament, I haven't really done, yeah, I haven't really done much. I guess it's just like producing this podcast actually, and just well, you know when they had those segments like in the middle of commercials back in the day with cartoons, just like showing the behind the scenes stuff. Like I was demographic for that. So
Right. Yeah. No,
so
I feel
yeah,
you. Me too.
yeah that
Those are fun.
yeah that basically started the path where I am today, for better or for worse. You know, I was definitely the type of kid that was just like, you know, constantly, like instead of like actually doing productive stuff like you know, studying, I was just like on Tumblr looking at like, all these production blogs and the model sheets for all these shows and stuff, like especially Steven Universe blog, like
Oh,
obviously,
that's
I mean,
awesome.
look at
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. That was big for a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. But not like this is your episode. I don't know
Oh
why I'm
no, no,
blabbing.
I'm curious. I mean, like I love hearing about where people, because I feel like everyone in our on our team and like at our studio have like very interesting backgrounds, and it's very cool to hear. But
Yeah.
yeah, I guess so. Sorry, I said, yeah, I
Oh no,
didn't want
yeah,
to go into
you continue
I
and
know, I'm like
I'll
trying
do
to
my
remember where I
lore.
left off. No, yeah, yeah. So I didn't like production either. I was like, I did the idea of, working on a set for like 10 hours a day is mind-boggling to me. And somewhere around sophomore year of college, I started seeing a lot of people getting into, at the time I was still following artists, even though I wasn't necessarily trying to go into art, but I still really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. So I was following people like Cat's Eye and like Laura Price, all those awesome people.
Right.
And I remember seeing announcements that these people were going to be interning at like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. I thought, well, that's freaking awesome. Like I want to do that too. And that's the first time that I realized, like, oh, this is a job. People do this as a job. Like
Yeah.
the SpongeBob doesn't just spawn into existence. Someone has to make it. So I that
I
sort
mean,
of
even at
was.
the Super Bowl, you know, someone did
Oh my
have to
god, the
make
Super
that.
Bowl. So good, by the way. My favorite, like literally my favorite. I've never liked the Super Bowl before. This was like I'm a football fan now. But but basically since sort of having that epiphany, which I think it seems to be pretty common from what I've heard from other people, is that no one seems to know that their job that they have now was a job at the time.
No,
um
definitely.
which is really funny to me. But I basically just started, looking at artists that I really liked, looking at their portfolios, trying to emulate what they were doing, just, being like, okay, well, what kind of pieces do they have? And like went into a bunch of different stuff, wanted to go into boarding at one point, then biz dev, and ended up in background paint because I didn't get jobs until I started picking one of them and specializing in it. So that worked out, if that's of any help to anyone.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'll definitely say, well, I guess to cover my path, where I initially was interested in is not where I ended up, but there's not anything wrong with that, especially
No.
when the object, especially if this climate just like get hired to begin with.
Yeah.
Um so for context sake, and this actually does like segment into like another, it segues into another question I was gonna ask later, but you know, we can still do that. So I graduated, I want to say, God, every year just like blurs together at this point. But
No,
yeah, I
I
want
get
to
it.
say I graduated in maybe 2020, 2021, like around that time.
Yeah. Same.
So I majored in human services, social work. You know, a lot of listeners are probably used to this story by now. I originally was at a separate college, NYIT in Manhattan, and I was
Oh,
going in for IT
right.
because my program in high school was just working with no Cisco stuff. So like internet wires, IP addresses, things like that. And it was a college level course. So I walk into college thinking I'm hot shit. I can actually handle this.
Don't we all?
Yeah, I am not capable. I'm not hot shit. And after having to learn or attempt to learn coding languages like MATLAB and I think some Java, I was like, actually, I think I remember I was in the back of that room, and of course now I remember why I dropped out. I was on Twitter instead of doing my work. OKKO dropped, and that was a project that I was
Oh,
keeping up with
yeah.
for a couple years because I was such a big fan of Ian, and it was like, yeah, this is a sign. I don't think I'm gonna pass this class anyway, even when I'm trying. So I transferred over to New York City College of Technology in Brooklyn, and well, I am passionate about the major that I am was in human services because
Mhm.
social work, my brother's special needs. I feel like that population is they need a voice, and
Absolutely.
but also it was really the only real major I could do that as little math as possible because
Yep.
yeah, it's a win-win because
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I still fiddle with computers obviously, but like, when you strip all the fun away from a passion and you have to like fit yourself in like a square peg when you're a square hole when you're a round peg. Like it just
yeah.
sucks
Mhm.
the fun out of it. So I
Yeah.
wanted to like, still enjoy myself. I still drew on the side and obviously I was still keeping up with cartoons, but I didn't nearly have as enough time. Then COVID hit. And once I graduated, I was like, shit, what do I do now? I have
Yep.
my degree, no one's hiring, even people that I interned with, even people that are very within walking distance from my grandma's apartment. So that was when I was like, I said screw it, and I just wanted to put all my chips, just like lean all into animation because
Mhm.
like what else? And through networking and like just like having very casual relationships with like a lot of people that I was lucky to already be a fan of. And that's like another tip out there. Um Memorize people's names in the shows and projects that you like. You know, like in not just for art inspiration or just, knowing what an ideal portfolio will look like, you might run into some of these people.
No,
And
absolutely.
yeah,
It's very likely actually that you will.
yeah, yeah. And I think like through the podcast, through still trying to do my own personal projects of video editing and being one out of, I think, 12 fans of Magical Friendship Squad on sci fi. Yeah, like I was just able to find myself here. I worked on metal with let's see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was Rachel, Carmen, um Alistair, Stella Flocka, those that was our prod squad. And Laura Allen, who was also on KO, and Mau Mau was our line producer on that. um and yeah, I just like kept flailing upward until I was able to work on KIF, and initially until my metal contract expired, I was doing a bit of double duty, so you can imagine how confused my brain was. And I've been lucky enough to be on KIF ever since. Now I'll finally give the mic back to you because this is your episode here. This is your
No,
episode.
no, you're good. I'm interested.
Yeah. Um, but yeah. Another thing, like in regards to social media, I've talked about this with like some of the other people I've recorded with this month, but things are definitely in a turbulent time at the moment.
Yeah.
But um,
So,
I do think like you and I are definitely of an era of social media, that was like inherently like more inviting to artists than like now, which is
Yeah,
a
we went through a
very
lot.
yeah, it's a very polite way of just me saying I I saw your YouTube uploads and I know exactly what kind of Tumblr user you are, and I mean that in the best possible
Oh my
way.
god. Oh no no no. This is so this is not you're throwing me a curveball here. So okay, so you know that well the YouTube uploads. Oh shit. Okay. So I don't actually go on Tumblr that much. That's the thing. This is like a YouTube specific thing. I did get into animation because of Voltron. I will just come out with it and embrace it, I guess. But
That is completely fine. I mean, you're talking to someone who like I was always into cartoons,
mhm.
but like knowing how they worked, Steven Universe was like, yo,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like that was the thing, especially their blog, like just like broke down like so much that, yeah, that probably, when you obsess a little bit too much about like what goes on behind the scenes, like you're just meant for production at this rate.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and sometimes like yeah, you'll have a show that sort of brings it out of you, right? Like it's not always like I don't know what it is honestly. I feel like in my case it was just the fact that I had never seen like a cell shaded show that I was super into, and I also hadn't been into mecha that much before then, and then it just like opened so many doors in terms of like wow, this is something I like, and then I started getting into it there. But the YouTube clips should be burned probably. They should probably be deleted from existence. And I should probably do that soon. But I keep
hey,
forgetting.
in all likelihood, because I'm sticking to like a certain release schedule. We might be talking about something that doesn't exist anymore by the time this goes
Oh
public.
yeah.
So yeah, you had the chance to change
That's true.
history.
There's a buffer. There's a grace period here.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna forget, but at least there's a grace period.
uh, but and I was about to have this like 20-minute tangent about mecha anime, but wrong podcast for
Oh
that.
God, another. I would love to though, because I would love to gush about it with you, but.
but yeah, so in terms of projects specifically, like you've got my history obviously.
Mhm.
But let's see. I'm pretty sure Kif wasn't your first, right?
No, no, Kiv was not my first. This is my favorite, but it's not my first. Yeah, so I started off. I graduated in 2020.
Mhm.
Uh, tested with no luck, applied with no luck.
Mhm.
And then I think October of that year, I got contacted by Disney TVA. They were looking for someone to help out with a animation test, and that was the animation test for Primos.
Mhm.
Um, so that was great. It's cool. I did background design and paint for them on that. Because it was a super small team, right? Like they basically it was just me on backgrounds, one color designer, one character designer, one prop designer. Like it was very very small.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean it was an animation test, right? It was like 2 to 3 minutes, so it's like
Okay.
the scope was a lot smaller, but yeah, it was still and it was also like I didn't talk to any of these people. Like it was very one on one with the showrunner or I guess creator at the time and the art director basically. So it was a very unique experience. I'm not sure I'll ever have anything like it again.
Yeah.
And I am okay with that because it was very isolating. But it was still very good. It's very fun. Learned a lot. And then that went on for a few months and it was sort of like on and off because once they had gotten like I guess they were going through layers of focus groups, so they would get some amount of approval and be like, okay, now they want like flash art for this or whatever, and like
Mhm.
they'd maybe reach out again for stuff like that. But then after that, I was sort of like in and out of freelance stuff, and I got contacted by Netflix, and that was for Carol and the End of the World, which it's a whole. I going to be polite because this is a podcast and anyone can listen to it. It
Of
was an
course.
interesting experience. It was a very interesting production with lots of unexpected twists and turns. That is as far as I will go. I will tell more to the tours that come tomorrow to the studio, probably. But
Very, yeah, very understandable.
they are privy to a lot. Yeah. So I worked on that as a background painter for about 9 months, I think. I was lucky enough to get put on that show with someone I had two people I had already knew, like two of my friends who are also in animation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, if you know, Abel Hayford, one like
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know you knew them. That's cool.
they color designed on it, and I already knew them from before because our other friend Monica Nguyen, who I think I mean both of them, they're like super big. Like they have like I don't even need to plug them. I will plug them, but like
Right.
they're superstars. But
Yeah,
I
it's
knew
so
both of them from
surreal.
before. Yeah.
No. I was just gonna say it's funny you mentioned that because, I'm pretty sure Abel's like Google Chrome theme is actually like what I use at work. So like,
Oh, for real? Yeah, I remember.
yes,
They're really nice. Yeah.
yes.
I
Oh my
loved those
god.
illustrations that they did. Yeah.
But yeah, continue.
No. So I knew both of them from before because Monica, I'm saying Monica. I call her Mon. But
Yeah.
she made a Discord server for us back when we had graduated from school in 2020 because everyone was really depressed because we graduated into a pandemic. So
Yeah.
she did that as a form of like, finding a way for us to be able to build a community in that very, very turbulent time for all of us. And it worked because, I made most of the people I talk to now are friends that I made through there.
Nice.
Yeah. And so we worked on that together, which was great. It was our first time being on like a full production, I think, for most of us. So it was a good way to like kind of hold each other's hands through it. And then after that, I was unemployed for a year,
Oh.
which is so much fun. Yeah, I was unemployed for almost all of 2022. And I just nothing was happening. I couldn't pick anything up. Uh I tried, I think I almost got onto a production and I said no to them because I was waiting on something else, and then that other thing fell through. So, word of advice: don't work with what you have in the present. Don't start planning ahead and being like, well, I might get this in the future. Like, no, if you have an opportunity in the moment, you need to take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a very big learning experience for me. And then I got reached out to by Ellen for KIF, like at the start of 2023, and they said they needed a background painter ASAP because you guys were in crunch for the Halloween episode.
Yeah.
So then I came in, and I've been here since then, and it's been like awesome. It's been great.
And of course, thank you very much for helping with that.
Oh
You
no,
know,
thank you guys. I mean, I think I did like one thing for 139, and then I was working on something else. But
yeah, like, it's funny when you, well, obviously it's not like funny mentioning you were unemployed for a year, but
no, it's
having,
so funny, Adam. I think we should laugh about
come on.
it.
But yeah, so it's interesting because when I was first interviewing to get on Titmouse,
hmm
um, let's see, is it out yet? Let me do some quick googling in order to save my ass. I'll
Yeah,
edit
make
this
sure
and
you're not
post.
breaking an NDA by accident.
Yeah. Do typing with one hand. Do. Okay. They had multiple articles. Okay. So yeah, so I'm pretty sure that like the first quote unquote gig that was proposed was to be a coordinator
Oh wow,
on
straight to
these
coordinator.
yeah, on the second best hospital in the galaxy. Back then it was
Oh.
just called the hospital. The thing is though, I had not had any prior production experience. So instead of being the anime main character that people probably would expect me to be, I'm like, I know my limits. I am not going to tank a production. I'd rather if you have anything available that is just for production assistant, I'd rather do that. And you know, sometimes it's perfectly okay to know your limits, and
Absolutely.
yeah,
I mean, it
like
worked out. Like you're here working in
yeah,
production. You know,
yeah.
like
I was very lucky, just like have like a smooth string, just like sliding in, from project to project. But like obviously well, I don't want to say like the power of God and anime on my side, but just a lot of very fortunate coincidences. But what?
yeah. No, I mean, I kind of say it every time, and I feel bad because I realize how unhelpful it sounds. When they come over and they're like, oh well, how did you get it, or like, did you how did you and I always tell them like I don't know how I got this job. I just got lucky. Like it's
Yeah,
sometimes it
legit.
just feels like that, right? Because yes, luck is, what do they always say, preparation, when preparation meets opportunity, right? But
Yeah,
like that's still luck, right? Like you still need to be at the right place at the right time, and like
yeah,
so much of it does not depend on you.
right. And it's also weird, like coming from a background as outside of animation. At least
Hmm.
you were still within the realm of entertainment, but I was completely outside.
Yeah.
And a lot of the rules that they tell people in order to get hired, not saying they're wrong, mind you, but they're not really geared towards people in my
Other
field,
fields.
production.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
like like having like a personal website, I imagine would still be good, if you're working in entertainment, but it's more important for someone who's like actually drawing or animating. I don't have a reel. I'm managing files. I'm doing
Yeah.
file management. I'm a secretary.
No, you're more than a secretary, but like that, you do a lot more than a secretary. But no, but yeah, I mean, I remember because like I was also looking at production positions back when I didn't know what exactly I was gonna do, or feeling like maybe I can't dive right into art. A lot of people treat production as an entry point into other parts of the animation pipeline, and that's perfectly valid. But like
Yes.
it is its own specialization, and it's not interchangeable with a different department. Like you really do have to know your stuff. You have to know how to use shotgun. You have to know how to use, well, in our case, FileMaker, which is a horrible thing.
Oh, it is so funny that you
It,
mentioned Shot Grid, because I was frantically taking notes on Shot Grid upon getting the recommendation from another person that helped me get onto Metal. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, okay, you'll probably be using this. Then I get onto Metal, and my coworker is like, "Oh, we use FileMaker." So basically, all the notes I had
Oh
already
no.
taken, just went straight to the
And
trash.
I would do anything to work in Chakra and not in FileMaker. I would do anything.
Yeah.
Just,
Oh, yeah. So this is one thing that I wanted to ask. So from what you had told me,
mhm.
yeah, when we met up at the last party,
Yes.
yeah, I had met Lisa through you, and you did
Yes.
background art for her game. Can you tell me more about that?
Of course. You should also get Lisa on here. I think that would be super cool.
Yeah, it
Sorry.
would.
Sorry, I was just plugging all my friends. But yeah, I we worked on a game project that was made for a game jam, which means it had to get done in 2 months. I feel like I was brought in pretty well, not late, but I don't think I was initially part of the team. It was just sort of a thing where she had come up to me and was like, "Hey, do you think you can help out with this?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, of course."
Mm-hmm.
And it's a wonderful visual novel game. It's a sapphic visual novel game called It's Life After Magic. You can get it for free on Steam. Everyone should play it. I'm sorry. I'm almost done with my plug. But
No worries. Plug away.
but yeah, so I basically, on that, it was, the backgrounds were obviously all stationary because it's a visual novel. So
Mm-hmm.
but since we were sort of like crunching to get it done because it was such a short timeline and a very quick turnaround, we were photo bashing. We were using royalty free images from Unsplash, actually, and just
Mm-hmm.
basically, I like to say that we put them through the grinder on Photoshop. Yeah, you really really crunch them up and everything because it is a pixel game. And yeah, I mean, it was super fun. It was very different from anything I had ever done because I feel like the game pipeline is so different from animation, even though they seem like they'd be pretty adjacent in a lot of
R-
ways.
right, right.
Um, but no, I learned a lot from it, and even now I'm actually helping her out on the game that they're currently working on, which is part of their studio, their game studio that they just founded called Shirashi
Oh,
Games. Yeah, super cool. Yeah, so they're
nice.
they're currently working on their like real official game projects that will be like going for sale and everything eventually at some point. And
Oh,
that has
heck
also
yeah.
been super super cool. It's been another pixel game, so a huge learning experience and very different from working on like a 2D show, right? Because
Yeah.
it's just a completely different mindset. We use a sprite, which you can get on Steam. I'm plugged. I sound like a commercial right now. I'm so sorry.
I've plugged Posty Burp at least twice on
Oh,
this show. You're
okay.
fine.
Okay, good. Thank you. But yeah, we use this program called Sprite, which is pretty cool. It's like I think it's also doubles as like an animation program for pixel art.
Oh, it does animation
Yeah,
too?
yeah, it does. It's super cool, very versatile, and it's pretty easy to pick up, I would say. I've only been using it for about like a month or two, I think, and it's been really really fun because I don't even use my tablet. I use my mouse to actually draw, and it's
Oh, you're
just
built different then.
no, 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 no. I
Jeez.
mean, like Lisa does too. Like when she told me, like, "Hey, I've been using my mouse for this," I'm like, "Oh, this actually makes it a lot easier because you're really just—it's kind of like Minecraft, right? You're just putting blocks down." So
So wait,
it's
so do y'all like draw them traditionally, then like go over them like by mouse and
so what we've been doing, like the on the last two assignments that I've gotten from her, basically, I
Mhm.
she'd be like, "Hey, like we need this environment, right?" So I'll photo bash something together basically, and sometimes it's using like a sketch that she might have already made in her own like visual exploration,
Mhm.
and then she will basically like crunch the image up and like make it like super low res, and then we just have that as like a reference in the background of a sprite
Right.
file, and then we just pixel on top of it basically, which is it feels very similar to what you would do with a normal drawing, right? You have a sketch underneath and color over it, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's so basically that is like the foundation of how we've been making these environments and stuff, and it's been very cool. It's
That
been a
is
nice
so
break.
interesting. And
Yeah.
I'm looking at some of the character designs for Life After Magic. I'm really engaged with it cuz first, anything that's even slightly adjacent to Magical Girls I'm going to be into.
Hell
But
yeah.
also like I just the fashion sense of all the characters. Like it's
That was
really
all Lisa. As a
yeah.
character
Oh my
designer
god.
extraordinaire, like oh yeah,
I
she spent a lot of time on the costumes.
like I really do feel like it's accurate to like the Y2K slant that
Yeah,
y'all are going for.
yeah,
So
100%.
no, yeah, just like knocked it out of the park on that one.
No, no, they're all great. They've got a super amazing team on it. Lots of really 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 sweet people, and yeah, they're just trying to make a good like a like queer space, like a queer like visual novel space that is combining like you know a lot of elements from Y2K, like you said, right? And I think it's really cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. So let's see. Okay. I guess like another thing. Do you have like any other like interests or hobbies, like either art related or otherwise? I'm down for whatever you have.
Interests or hobbies? Well, um, I mean, I feel like we've talked a little bit about video games, right? I'm sure we've talked like at least a little bit because I feel like I bring it into any conversation I'm in. But
Hey, I've got 20 minutes to kill if you're ready to talk about
I'm
video
ready for
games.
those 20 minutes. I am. Well, what do you want to know specifically? Just like what I've been doing in my free time, or like
Yeah, sure. Well, first, let's get the formalities out of the
oh,
way. Like,
sorry, I'm so
first
sorry.
console. No,
First
no, no, it's
console.
cool.
Oh, first
Yeah.
console. God. Oh my God. It was the first one that I probably had that was my own. It wasn't my brother's.
Mhm.
Was probably like a Game Boy Advance or a Game Boy Color. I don't remember which.
Nice.
Yeah, and I played Super Mario Kart to death on that thing. And also, I forgot which Sonic came out on that one, but one of those.
Sonic
So
Advance.
probably Sonic Advance. Probably
Yeah.
good shit. Good
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. When I myself had been to Atlanta, visiting my childhood home, uh, thankfully I actually was able to come up with my brother's old GBA, and
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, if I ever like have like a little bit of like just like spare change for lack of better words, I'll just like buy like some like old cartridges on, like eBay or AliExpress, and hey, if it works, it works. I'm not trying to
That's
be like a
amazing.
huge primo retro game collector.
No, but I mean, listen, they I don't think we really like we have the Steam Deck, we have the Nintendo Switch. We don't have a shortage of handheld consoles, but
Yeah, I have a Vita too, and I'm like one of
the
like
Vita
five people
that's
who
that's
actually has that.
exactly. No, I mean it's hard to replicate like those specific consoles, right? Because they were so much smaller, but they feel I don't know. It's just it's something you can't get from like
Yeah,
a modern day handheld console that you
yeah.
got from a DS, for example.
Oh my god. Like I really wish I could find my old DS, especially now that like flashcards are much more accessible. Like
God, yeah.
it's hard to justify purchasing this stuff, especially to like parents and family just don't get it. But it's like wow, it's incredibly convenient to be able to play I think max up to like a PS3 game like on a Steam Deck, um having the hardware is just a different experience, and like both are valid. Like
Right.
I like another like experiment that I've actually had. Um I I myself had a Dreamcast that was given to
Oh,
me by some of my cousins
love it.
all the way back in 2011, and I never had the actual cables to hook it up until I started working. So that was just basically just like sitting in time, and it worked. VGA cables are fairly cheap, and the neat thing about the Dreamcast is that nowadays you can just buy a stack of CDRs and just burn a CD image and it'll just work on the damn thing. And I just been having like a great time on that with the original controller and all that.
It's so awesome. I love that, people go out of their way to like refurbish and like keep these consoles alive. I think that's it's a good thing. I know I feel like I've talked about it with other friends before, but I feel like video game archiving is like not talked about that much and like there's a lot of stuff that needs to go into it that I feel like no one has addressed really. It's not really
Oh,
it's not
absolutely.
regularized right now, so hopefully
Yeah.
hopefully we get somewhere with that in the next few years. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Because, and oh man, I could just go on and on, but it's like we've slowly went like in terms of like video games like as a medium, we slowly went from just having products into having services. And while
Yeah.
they might be more convenient in the short term, at the end of the day, you just don't have a product that you own. Like in layman's terms, for people who are more like working in like animation or whatever, like imagine like buying like a latest Sonic game and for lack of a better example and the purchasing options are more like the modern Adobe suite where you're perpetually paying for it
Yeah.
but you don't actually
You
own
don't
it.
own it. And that's how they take away. I mean, it happens with like TV and movie media already, but like
Yeah,
that's why my brother would always suggest to me be like, like buy physical media, buy your games physically because
buy
like
external hard drives
buy
too.
external hard it's just like you know that I remember being scared of it at first when I saw it like on Steam. Like I'd see that my games were considered subscriptions, and it's like, well, what the hell does that mean? What are you gonna just like take away my
Yeah,
Baldur's Gate? Like I don't I have to know. Like it's
it's
so bad.
very yeah, it's very very iffy, honestly.
Yeah.
I know that is like all this talk is why I ended up getting a a USB CD drive, which thankfully just works on basically everything in order to rip. Again, when I was in Atlanta, I just tried to rip as many CDs, DVDs that I could.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, don't get me started on like the amount of things that I've been able to do. Instead of like just doing streaming services traditionally.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it's so bad right now. It's so
incredibly,
not
because
to
it's
be.
like it, no, no, no. Like I think these are like important discussions
Yeah,
because
yeah,
like at the very least, like if there are games that like aren't on Steam anymore, then you still have the option of re-downloading it. You still have it in your library.
yeah,
Other people just can't buy it. But now you're telling me that you could just buy a season's worth of TV on like the PlayStation Store, YouTube, or whatever. And if the original people who make that just don't care, it just poofs. I think
yeah,
that's even more draconian.
yeah. No, it's awful. It's really
Mm-mm.
scary,
Yeah.
and there's
Um,
no permanence for media anymore.
it really isn't. All I can say to anyone in the audience that is interested in me ranting about technobabble, um, go back to attend your local libraries. They
Mm,
need the funding anyways,
they
but
do.
they have a shockingly good library DVDs you can borrow. They have their LBRY app where you can just like digitally borrow, books, manga, audiobooks, all that for free. I would also recommend, if you're adept, if you already have like an external hard drive and an external CD drive or whatever. If you're already handy with computers, there are programs like Plex or Jellyfin where basically you can run one of your computers as a media server. So any other device that you have connected to Wi-Fi, you can just have a streaming service of stuff that you own. So you already have like your digital copies and all that.
Hmm.
Very convenient. I spent like the past couple of weeks getting that set up. I don't know. Part of me eventually is just gonna like I've wanted to do so many things, and it's like pivoting between artists to video essayists to like tech person, whatever. One day, like I'll probably just like do like a whole big stupid stream of just getting all this stuff set up, because the more people know about this stuff, about preserving media, the I think the better off we'll all be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
it's. I feel like it's a gateway to so many, like a whole industry basically, or like a whole
Hmm.
section of the existing gaming industry. But it really deserves a lot more attention, development than it's been getting.
Definitely. However, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for bringing down the mood.
No, no,
But
no. Yeah, don't apologize. I feel like I brought it. I was like, I've been getting so doomer lately about about so many things. I'm like, oh man, this
oh
really
no,
sucks, guys. But
oh no, no, you're cool. It's just that like I'm passionate about games preservation,
no,
so
same.
I can easily just blah. But you know, okay, just to bring some levity, just rapid fire of like some of your favorite stuff or like games you've
Oh
been
god.
playing.
Well,
You go
I
first.
already
Yeah.
mentioned one. I've been playing Baldur's Gate for the last 6 months, and it's taken over my life, and
Hmm.
I'm very happy about it. It's a very good game. Please play Baldur's
Yes.
Please support Larian Studios, probably one of the last good gaming studios in the world. I don't know. There's keep hearing about so many layoffs, and like they seem to really care about their staff. So I don't know. Well, I mean, it's from an outsider's perspective, obviously, but
Yeah. Yeah.
very good game. Played Divinity Original Sin 2, also buy them. Very good. Uh, but no, other games that I've been playing lately. I played A Little to the Left recently, which was really lovely, really beautiful art.
Hmm.
And I recently moved actually, so
Oh wow.
it felt very fitting for it because you're basically just organizing stuff and like moving it to be sort of like in a zen position, I guess, to some extent. And I was like, oh, this is kind of like what I should be doing in real life, but instead I'm gonna play it on my Steam Deck.
Oh, you have a Steam Deck too,
I do
huh?
have a Steam Deck.
Nice,
That's why I was
nice.
so impressed when you were like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna do it through my Steam." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know the Steam Deck could do that. That's very cool."
Look, don't get me started with the stupid shit I can do with that thing. I got Windows 98 on there.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
If I run into you, I'll definitely show it off.
I would love to see it. Windows 98. That's awesome. Uh,
Yeah, but
uh,
wait, did you have one more
I don't
or?
know. Actually, no. I mean, I'm trying to think right now, but I feel like it has been predominantly Baldur's Gate 3. I'm sorry for mentioning it for like the sixth time
It is
in
fine. Like
class.
I've heard like so many people give it high praise. I
it
might as well.
it's it's very worth it, I think. And
I
like,
feel like
go
no, I'm sorry.
go go go.
I feel like in terms of my gaming history, because I've been quote unquote financially challenged for a big chunk of my life,
Yeah.
there are just like whole eras of gaming that I personally miss. Like I went from if I if I'm just counting stuff I played instead of like solely owned,
Hmm.
computer, PS1, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, original Xbox, Wii, DS, um, big gap. Um, you know, uh,
Understandable.
yeah, PlayStation Vita,
Hmm.
Switch, Steam Deck, and that's where I am now. So there's like, uh, a lot of big stuff from the sixth generation and seventh generation, especially AAA, that I'm just completely unfamiliar with. You know, I
That's
I got a
okay.
I got gifted like I don't know, I want to say at least like 2 or 3 years ago, a copy of Tekken 7, and I only now have hardware that's able to play that, and Tekken 8 is out now.
Oh yeah. Tekken
Yeah,
8. I've heard it's really good. I heard people really like it.
yeah, the character customization goes insane for the
Yeah.
record.
Yeah, and the mocap looks really nice too, like the anime. So
Yeah,
it's pretty nice.
but
I've
in
never been a fighting game person, but like seeing it from the outside, I'm like, wow, that's really awesome.
oh yeah, I mean, look, as someone who is a fine game person, you don't have to be like good at them just to have
No,
fun.
you don't. You can still enjoy them. I just feel like I never played them. Like I feel like the most I've done is played Smash, which I know you're also a big fan of, right?
Yeah, to say the least.
uh, but yeah, no, I've never really gotten into. I've watched my friends play Guilty Gear like freaking million times. It's
Oh,
awesome,
nice.
but
Yeah, I
yeah,
really should get into that.
yeah, Strive
Um,
is great.
let's see. So, in terms of stuff that I've been playing slash game Rex, if you want to stick with solely indies, if you're looking for a Sonic like, lately the game Roland Rascal has been making the rounds, and I'm really excited for that. Yeah, yeah. So let's see, how do I explain it in like 5 words? Um, basically, there's like a yearly, um, like online expo called Sage, the Sonic Amateur Games Expo, where a lot of like really good fan games, actually end up happening. In recent years, they've opened more and more to just general, indie game demos and stuff like that. If I remember correct, that's how Pizza Tower like started getting a
Wow.
platform. Yeah, yeah, a lot of good people. And honestly, like a lot of people who even start making like Sonic fan games will just make their own thing. Like Roland Rascal was made by some fan game devs. Sparky Electric Jester. If you're really
Oh, yeah.
big into like the adventure games specifically, like the 2000 stuff, Sparky Electric Jester is definitely what you should play. Rouse of Aether is just like a really cute like 2D platform fighter, Smash like, but the gameplay is just like a lot more open in my opinion. And I think the biggest thing is that they have like a huge community on PC for custom characters and
Oh
stages
wow.
and everything. I think they have like a volleyball mode, and the whole, if you really want to get into like some of these games, like they get big. I think they have like a trading card spin-off, a dating sim spin-off that was originally an April Fool's joke, but they made a whole thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, and finally, to round it off, Hazelnut Hex, which is a 2D shoot 'em up that is also on Switch actually. It's like entirely hand drawn, has like a really hyper colorful aesthetic, and like really upbeat rock and chiptune soundtrack. It's really fun. Like if you're into like brutally hard like shooters, not like first person shooters, you know what I mean? The arcade stuff, you'll love this, but thankfully is also very accessible to people newer to genre. So no matter what, it's just about having fun and playing as a cute witch trying to save breakfast with her little I think her little pet is a pumpkin, but I might
That's
be
cute. That's so
yeah.
cute.
Yeah, I might be getting confused with Steven Universe for that last bit. But no, it's incredibly fun. I remember getting for free when it was still on itch.io, but now it's on Steam, and it got like a complete facelift and looks even better than before. I think it's like $7, but still, for the amount of gameplay you get from this, I think it's incredibly worth it. So feel free to check any of those out.
Yeah. No, I definitely will. I love finding things to play and things to watch. So.
Yeah. Wow, we talked. Yeah, we really did get 20 minutes out of that segment, huh?
Great. That's all you have to do, just bring up games.
Yeah. uh, wait. Okay, let me see. Oh, we're doing great time. Hey, before we close out, I might as well just do that mecha anime tangent as well.
Oh,
so.
Great.
All right, so you go first. So, like, what have you been into?
Oh God. I mean, I got put through the ringer by my friends who already are very deep in mecha. I mean, not actually. I have not watched anything in the Gundam series yet. I plan to,
Okay.
but I have not. I've been told like, oh, Gundam 00, blah blah blah. All this, what is it? Which for Mercury? Like that one I got to. They're all on the list.
Oh yeah, I think that's like the most accessible one you can
Yeah,
watch. It's like the most newest and all that.
And it looks great. It looks. I'm loving the women loving women Willowa, as people like to say.
Yes.
No, yeah, it looks really good. No, I watched. I got put through the Gurren Lagann pipeline.
Nice.
Which I loved Gurren Lagann. Another one I thought other than Voltron. I hope God. I can only think of Gurren Lagann now. I feel like I've been getting put through like. Oh my gosh! Of course.
What's up?
Eureka 7.
Oh.
I was like, I'm
God.
definitely missing one that I really liked. It was Eureka 7. I love Eureka 7 so freaking much. I love that show.
It's like, yeah, like no, these shows just like so much more than like big giant robot punch monster. Those parts are great, but
But it's eye candy. At that point,
yes.
It's eye candy.
And it's having the vulnerability that I feel is just the strength. And I'm sorry for hyperfixating, obviously.
No. I love talking about it because I mean like I feel like in our generation it is pretty common for people to already like mechas, so it's not like they're like, oh, I can only talk about this with these people, but like I feel like it doesn't necessarily always come up in conversation. If you're not like already gonna be watching something, it's not something that comes up. And I don't know, I feel like it's influenced by and has also influenced a lot of media that everyone consumes. So it's just really cool.
Yeah, literally like at least in my opinion, one of the most like the show that a lot of people like associate with Titmouse that is Metalocalypse, Megas XLR, which is not only a parody but loving tribute to mecha anime.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I wish I showed this off to like some other people, but they were having like the people who make like I think it was either Figmas or Figure Arts or whatever. Like they had like an international poll or whatever, and I think Megas was like really high in the charts.
Yeah.
Like people are nuts about that show, despite the fact that At least if you're in America, there's no legal way to to
Yeah.
watch it.
I mean,
Uh,
as of so many things.
yeah, yeah, we had tax write-offs before it was cool.
Yeah, tax
uh,
season's coming up, so that's very
yeah.
topical. Uh, uh,
uh, but yeah, so everyone in the audience, thank you for listening to another episode of Mecha Madness with Adam. Nah, but
yeah, literally, yeah. This is your new podcast, Adam.
it might
You're
as well
welcome.
be. But yeah, assuming I'm not forgetting everything, anything. God, I'm stumbling on my words. Um, I am finally going to wrap up on my end. But Natalie, if you have like any closing remarks, any links you want to promote, feel free to do so now.
God, I mean, I guess I don't know. I feel you usually do link the socials in the description, right, of the episode. I don't know if
Yeah,
links
yeah,
are
yeah. If
add.
you like send me like any links in the email, I'll just obviously put in the description
Okay.
too.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll add those. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really too active on social media. I gotta take care of my mental health, you know. But
Yeah, touching grass is good.
yeah, touching grass is very good. Feels great. Going to bed not at 5 in the morning feels great when I can manage it. Um,
I can wait. No. No, wait, no. I went to bed at 4 yesterday. Yeah, so I can't
four.
relate.
Well, don't worry about it, Adam. It's just four. No, yeah. I mean, I was on like a gen schedule for a long time, and then I was like, you know what? I have to get my shit together, and then I started going to bed at a normal time. Like, wow, this is what it feels like to be up in the morning. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, but no, I don't think there's anything else to add. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy we got to do this. I don't know, please support Adam and their podcast. Like it's just I love that it's a thing
Oh,
that we
no
get to do.
problem. Thank you so much, honestly.
Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, before I forget, one of my friends, Gio Stundle,
Oh.
commented, like one question, does she drink ketchup like a Pikachu? Of referring to your username, Ketchup Kiddo.
Oh. Oh, like a Pikachu. Wait, is there a reference going over my head about the Pikachu part of it?
I actually do not know.
Oh, okay. Well,
Um,
unless there is a GIF or something of Pikachu drinking ketchup, which I would love to see if that exists. But
yeah.
um, I don't, and you know what? This is very hard to admit. I have not had ketchup in a very long time, and I should probably have some soon because I do like
It's in
ketchup.
your name, like you
And
chose
it's
your
also in my
destiny.
name. I have to protect the brand, you know.
Yes.
um, but no, I don't think I have. I used to like ketchup a lot as a kid. Actually, I used to like eat ketchup, which is a freakish thing, but I feel like that would be normal for a child, probably.
Yeah, yeah. And hey, look, like I would say not to feel bad because shockingly my current internet username is not KashCast, but the name of the podcast just it's catchy, so just like, you know what, fuck it. You know?
Sometimes, you know, sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes it doesn't need to. You know, if people remember it, that's your brand right there. So.
Yes. So as for me, if you want to keep up with me, as I've said in previous episodes, I can be found at a2adam.carrd.co. That'll have a link to all my socials, more about me, more about the podcast. I am in the process of making a NeoCities page that will be a main hub for the podcast and my personal stuff. But yeah, Card will just be a good highlight reel. I am also on Patreon. If you are a patron, you are listening to this episode early. If not, patrons will be able to ask questions early, get to know future guests early, and they will be listening to episodes as soon as they're done. For the public, I'm hopefully going to be releasing these every 2 weeks. So this will just be a little rotating thing that I have. And if you're at all interested at being a upcoming guest on the KashCast and you want to reach out to me, feel free to reach out. AdamLatour@gmail.com, or just DM me on whatever social media that you can find me on. I'd be more than willing to have you on. And of course, watch KIF if you
Watch
can.
Kif.
Disney
Watch
Channel,
Kif.
Disney Plus, Disney XD.
Good
That's
show.
still around.
Great show. We're still coming in strong. That.
Yes, definitely. Like, not just saying just to keep a roof over our heads, but KIF
Well,
is
also that.
yes.
That is still one of the reasons you should watch.
Oh, absolutely. But KIF in itself is just like a very wonderful show, and I'm happy to be on it.
It is great.
Yes, and I think that will finally be it. This is another wrapped episode of the KashCast. I am Adam.
And I'm Natalie.
Yes. Yes.
Is that my name?
And we will both catch you next time. Remember to stay safe, take care, wear a mask, and remember, love and peace always. Take care.